Hello, noble people. My name is The Noble, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about the things that I want to see from Pokemon Legends ZA. This is the upcoming new Pokemon game that I am actually decently excited for. I am a little, pessimistic when it comes to the performance that is going to be on my Switch specifically. I never got an actual normal Switch that docks, and I definitely haven't gotten a Switch 2. I just don't want one. To me, the only reason for me to actually get a Switch 2 would be if the Gen 10 of Pokemon released, which that's not going to be for a while, so I probably will wait until Gen 10 for Pokemon releases to get a Switch 2. However, I do have a Switch Lite, and it doesn't have the best performance. Even with Scarlet Violet, well, that performance was bad. It was noticeably worse on the Switch Lite. So I'm a little nervous that ZA might perform not the best, considering all the footage we have seen was recorded on a Switch 2. But since it is technically a Nintendo Switch game, not a Nintendo Switch 2 game, I'm hopefully optimistic that it's going to run at least somewhat decently on my console. But with the latest trailer that we got from the Pokemon Direct, which I was going to do a reaction with, but I decided to watch it with my brother instead, so I didn't do a video or a react stream or anything like that. It kind of got me back into trying to do theories and try and see where stuff is going. So, if you found this video thinking I'm going to be talking about some leaks, I know that's one of the big things with ZA right now. People want to talk about the leaks for maybe upcoming Mega Pokemon, upcoming leaks in terms of story stuff. I'm not going to talk about any of that in this video, so you can watch the video. This is just stuff that I want to personally see in ZA that I hope make it into the game, because if it isn't in the game, I won't necessarily be upset, but at the same time, I might be somewhat disappointed. Legends Arceus, I didn't personally play when it came out. I played it a lot later on an emulator, and I really liked it. The only thing that I didn't like about it too much is how it still limited you to the Pokemon in that region. And with Pokemon ZA being sent Kalos, while Kalos Dex is not that big, it only has like 70-something Pokemon, I think. They have a lot wider range of Pokemon from Gen 1 to Gen 6, and from what some people are talking about, they might also have some Alola rep, since Zygarde is actually, most of Zygarde's lore is from Alola, so we might get some Alola Pokemon in here. So I think that's going to be a lot better of a fundamental game, and I kind of want to share some of my expectations and hope for the game moving forward into us hopefully getting some more teasers regarding possible new Megas, possible Pokemon, and possible characters and storyline beats. The first thing that I want to see is regarding Pokemon abilities. Now, if you don't know, in Legends Arceus, there were actually no abilities except Regigigas, which is kind of funny because they just apparently didn't want it to be strong, even in a game that it didn't really matter if it had slow start or not, which is kind of unfortunate. And I want there to be abilities. Obviously, I do think they're going to do that. I don't think they would introduce new Mega Pokemons like Mega Dragonite and then not give it a new ability until it came to like Gen 10 or like Pokemon Champions, which is confirmed to have Mega Evolutions. I don't think they would do that. But I mean new abilities to old and existing Pokemon. In Generation 9, they actually gave some new abilities to old Pokemon that kind of made them really better. The biggest one that I can think of is actually Gallade. Gallade got Sharpness, which it previously didn't have Sharpness, and Sharpness giving it all of the slicing moves a 50% bonus is actually huge for Gallade, allowing it to actually be a really good Pokemon in singles and even some niche double battles that I've seen. But if you know me, you know the Pokemon that I want to see have a new ability is my favorite Pokemon, Gliscopod. And yes, I know it might seem a little conceited to want my favorite Pokemon in this game, especially because of Gen 7 Pokemon, so it's not confirmed to even be in this game. But since Zygarde has a lot of its lore in Gen 7, and with the rumors of us getting Gen 7 Pokemon, I wouldn't put it past them to actually put it in the game. And we also got Gen 6 Pokemon like Hisuian Gudra and Hisuian Avalugg in Legends Arceus, and also like Lilligant, Braviary, like a bunch of different Pokemon were in Arceus, so I wouldn't put it past them to not do newer gen Pokemons in this game as well, and I'm hoping that Gliscopod is there. If you don't know, its signature ability of Wimp Out for the pre-evolution Wimpod and its signature ability Emergency Exit are not the best. It forces the user to swap out if they get below 50% health, and that's really bad for this type of Pokemon who wants to try and stay in and do damage. Like, if you allowed this Pokemon to stay in, set up Sword Stance, it could do really wonders. The reason it has it is because of First Impression, a priority 90 base power bug type move that was its signature move, and then they changed it so other bug type Pokemon have it. So I don't understand why they don't give it another ability. I am personally want it to either have Shell Armor or Tough Claws, because Shell Armor just is a pretty good ability to save it from crits, and Tough Claws makes it so all contact moves get a 30% increase, which I would definitely like. I don't know if it would get Tough Claws, because that seems a little bit too strong for like an insanely high base stat total. Like, if you check Gliscopod's stats, it is pretty slow, but it's actually pretty strong and actually really tanky. Now, obviously, this does not mean just for my favorite Pokemon. I want other Pokemon to get some treatment as well. Mainly some Pokemon that we haven't actually seen for a while, so Pokemon like Furfrou, Watchdog, maybe even the Elemental Monkeys, even though I don't really like those Pokemon too much. Just having them get spiced up a little and try and be on board with all their other Pokemon. They seem to want to try and keep power creep going up, but at the same time, they're also trying to give older Pokemon kind of new light with gimmicks and stuff. Like, Dragonite actually wasn't that good in competitive, or just, like, he was just the first pseudo legendary, so he wasn't the best and did everything particularly great. But then with Terra Normal Extreme Speed, obviously its new mega form, they're actually giving love to these old Pokemon, and I feel like this is a step in the right direction, especially if they're going to keep introducing insanely busted Pokemon. But that's probably one of the big ones that I want to see. Is I want to see new abilities, and I want there to be abilities in this game, because Legends Arceus didn't, but I'm going to assume they are going to have abilities, because if they didn't, a lot of Mega Pokemon would really suck. The next thing I want there to be in the game is I want this game to actually be really challenging. And I know that might seem weird, but considering that in Legends Arceus, most of the fights you had in Legends Arceus weren't the most challenging. Some of like the bosses against like some of like the big Pokemon where you had to like do like the Dark Souls dodging, those could be decently hard, but like the actual Pokemon battles weren't that hard, excluding Volo's boss fight, which everyone has talked to death about how cool that boss fight is. But since this new game is focusing on actually doing real-time battles, and they're going to explore that new system, I actually want to see them take advantage of this new gameplay system and actually make it decently challenging. So we're going to have to use Pokemon we might have not used. We're going to have to try and experiment with moves we haven't used, because their moves are going to be different. From like the first trailer they released, it's already been shown that like Stealth Rocks is different, because it actually like covers the zone, and like a flying type can follow into it and it will actually do damage to them. Like, there's so many creative ways they can play out how these battles go, and I hope they actually do get challenging, because the worst thing that this could be is just another Legends Arceus. Like, I feel like already, just because it is another Legends game, it's going to at least be on par with Arceus, which is always going to be good, but I want this game to be better, so, especially because I like Gen 6 way more than I like Gen 4. Me personally, I'm hoping that they try and use this new gameplay mechanic really well, and each gameplay element sticks together with the story well, as like to make it perfect, if that makes sense. Volo. I want Volo to return in ZA so much. Pokemon villains are so give or take, and I know the idea of Pokemon is supposed to be just Pokemon. Like it's kiddie game. It's at the end of the day, it is for kids. They're not gonna have like a really big overarching villain. The idea to me that Volo still is going to become like the main villain of ZA is so interesting to me. He's just a character that literally wants to know what Arceus is. He's just non-stop, that's all his goal is. Whether he has to use Giratina, Dialga, anything. And the idea that he'll somehow try and use Zygarde to see Arceus, like something. There's a reason why Pokemon ZA is ZA. We don't know what that A is. It could be a Z. We know that he's in the game, but we don't know why. And if you're going to use the excuse about how old Volo will be by the time he were to be in Gen 6, you have AZ there, and he's like 3,000 years old. So we can 100% see Volo in this game, and I want to see him so bad. He has the most memorable fight out of every single Pokemon game, probably one of the hardest fights. If you actually do his fight in order of how you're supposed to, where your level of Pokemon are around the same level as his, it is one of the hardest fights. If you wait to do his fight last, it's decently easy because you're just going to have over-leveled legendaries and pseudo-legendaries and just completely wipe him. But his theme, the battle, he has 8 Pokemon. Being able to battle him again and see like a revamped team, maybe he'll have Mega Evolutions now. And not only that, is that we'll have the new gameplay system with the real-time battles. Maybe he'll be a person who has Zygarde. We don't know. There's so much they can do with Volo that I can think that make his character more interesting. Because he's already really interesting and a really good actually twist villain. Usually I don't like twist villains, but he's a really good villain in Arceus. So kind of just tossing him away, kind of like how they do a lot of their quote-unquote villains, it doesn't make too much sense for me. The only real villains that I would say that can make like match Volo is Ghetsis, but Ghetsis is one of the examples where he has 2 games to showcase how evil he is. Another character people like Lusamine, she's kind of like not really understood, like not just evil for the sake of evil like Ghetsis and Volo are. There aren't many like evil teams that aren't just like, oh, we're gonna do blanket thing that is bad. Like even Lysander from X and Y, I'm gonna tell you, all I know is that he's considered one of the worst evil team members, and he just wants something with Xerneas and Yveltal. That is it. I know nothing about his character because I haven't played Gen 6 yet. It's been like literally 10 years since I've played it, so it's been a while. But I think Volo is such an interesting character, and I know I'm just constantly repeating myself, but you don't know how giddy and how happy I would be to see like a decrepit old man show up and suddenly we start hearing the iconic Volo and Cynthia's theme play, and we're just like, uh-oh, we gotta be prepared for a really tough battle. And I'm so happy, and I'm so hoping this happens. I know this might be a long shot, but considering that he says he'll come back no matter what, and no real like evil team member has like actually come back, except I think Rainbow Rocket stuff has come back and stuff like that, I want to see him again. And I know a lot of other people want to see him again as well. He's such an interesting character. I know I'm repeating myself, but that's the biggest thing I want to see from Pokemon Legends ZA. That's going to be it for this video. Thank you if you've watched this. I had a lot of fun making this. Stay noble. I see you again in the next one. Bye.